I'm Ninja Greg, and you're watching The Ninja Greg Show. Well, it's October again. The season of fear is upon us, and Halloween is coming up at the end of the month. So I'm going to kick off this month with a review of a movie based on a franchise well known for its spooky content. I am talking about the book series, or the movie based on the book series, Goosebumps. Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. Not really, but that was the tagline of the old TV show that was based on the books. You know what? Let me give you some background information on Goosebumps in case you're not too familiar with it. Okay, so Goosebumps is a book series written by author R.L. Stine that have to do with supernatural and scary elements like a haunted mask or an evil ventriloquist dummy, werewolves, ghosts, and all that other ghoulish stuff. The height of its popularity, I think, was around the 90s because it was around that time when Fox Kids made a Goosebumps television show that were based on the individual books, because each episode was based on one book and another, and you get the idea. It was kind of like Fox's version of Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark, with pretty much the same level of stellar child acting. Now, whether the books were faithfully adapted on the television show, I can't really say because I never really read Goosebumps and I didn't watch the show either. So I'm not exactly a big fan of it, and I haven't really followed it in the past 20 years since I first heard about it. So I don't really know if new books are being made. I like to think they are. Or if it exists in some new form on television somewhere. But apparently it's relevant enough to get its own movie adaptation starring Jack Black. So let's get to it. It's about high schooler Zach Cooper and his mom moving from New York City to Madison, Delaware, because Mrs. Cooper accepted the job of being the vice principal of the local high school, and they moved next door to the very mysterious and very curmudgeonly neighbor, later revealed to be none other than R.L. Stine. So one night, thinking something screwy might be going on, Zach sneaks into R.L. Stine's house and finds the original Goosebumps manuscripts, and out of curiosity opens one up, and in so doing releases all of the monsters R.L. Stine's ever written about in his entire Goosebumps series up to that point. Now, it's very clear that this movie is made for the Goosebumps fans. But that's not to say non-fans won't enjoy, because I certainly did. But, yeah, this was definitely made with a lot of love, and because you've got appearances by the likes of the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, the Invisible Boy, the Blob that ate everyone, and of course that most infamous of ventriloquist dummies, Slappy. Also, part of the end credits, the beginning part of the end credits, features the pictures that were on the front cover of each individual book. Some of them even featuring the monsters that appear in the movie. That's a very nice touch. And we also get a kind of a cute little cameo from the actual R.L. Stine. And I'm also glad to say that this movie avoids some of the new kid on the block checklist items that these kind of movies tend to do. Yes, Zach is a kid that moves from a big city to a small city. Fortunately, we are spared some of the typical teen angst you get with this kind of story. You know, oh man, school sucks, the kids at school suck, my teachers suck, this town sucks, I want to go back home. Ugh. Thankfully, we get none of that. Now, he does live next door to R.L. Stine, but also his daughter Hannah. And yeah, I smelled the relationship coming a mile away. But the movie doesn't really focus too heavily on that. This movie knows that you're here to see the monsters, and it gets you to them pretty quickly. Like about a half hour in is when the monsters show up. And once they do, the pacing is really good. It's really fast paced. So you go from one monster encounter to the other without having a lot of meandering around. It just goes straight from monster encounter to monster encounter. It's like, boom, abominable snowman. Boom, evil lawn gnomes. Boom, Slappy. Boom, the invisible boy. Boom, werewolf. And speaking of the monsters, Slappy is a very good antagonist. Not just a creepy puppet for the sake of being a creepy puppet, but he's actually pretty clever. He knows that the only way to get the monsters back, to stop the monsters is to get them back into the book by opening it up and sucking them back in. So what does he do? He lights the books on fire so that there's no way to get the monsters back to where they originally were. Well played, Mr. Slappy, well played. All, and I mean all, of the Goosebumps monsters out and running about, and it seems there's no way to stop them because, like I said, Slappy burned all the original manuscripts. But the heroes come up with a clever idea to write a new story, use that to trap all of them at the same time. Slappy finds out, and it gets to a point where R.L. Stine figures that the best way to do that is to use his old typewriter, which is on display at the high school. So he finds a quiet place to write the new story, where of course Slappy finds him and breaks his fingers so he can't write the story anymore. I also have to give Jack Black points for playing R.L. Stine because it's different from the character you typically see him play in his movies, you know, being the goofy but lovable buffoon. But no, his portrayal of R.L. Stine is not like that. He's just the standoffish, no-nonsense curmudgeon who begrudgingly does what he has to in order to stop the monsters he created. And Jack Black also provides the voice for two other characters in the movie. The Invisible Boy, who's just this mischievous little troublemaker, and Slappy the Dummy. And you can tell he's just having a blast voicing Slappy. He just being allowed to just be as devious as he wants to be, cracking jokes and giggling every step of the way. Now, while this movie does a good job of avoiding certain cliches that you could get with this kind of movie, it doesn't avoid others as well. Yeah, Zach gets a dorky best friend who's basically a diet version of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. And yeah, he gets the girl in the end, but plot twist, she's actually a ghost created by R.L. Stine. Oh, wow, that's weird. And yeah, R.L. Stine comes off as the overprotective dad who at first keeps people at arm's length, but then he learns to let people in and be a little bit more trusting and open and all that good stuff. You know, now I'm kind of curious as to what the actual R.L. Stine was like. Ah well, unless you actually knew the guy, who can say, right? So that was Goosebumps. I really do recommend this one. Fans and non-fans can enjoy it because it's just a fun, spooky delight to be enjoyed year-round. Anyways, I'm Ninja Greg. You've been watching The Ninja Greg Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or Slappy will come find you. I'm just kidding. Anyways, I'll see you next time.